Hey guys, welcome back to our Restart of Civilization series. As we know, nuclear disaster happened a while ago. Societies rose in the Middle East, expanded all over. Collapses of empires and reforms, expansion, exploration of Europe and Asia, and countries falling apart. But now, at the beginning of this episode, we see this civilization over here decides to move in around here down the coast of Southeast Asia, as it becomes known as their Southeast Asia expedition. And so they move up here. Of course, this isn't the fastest expansion, because as we know, this is a jungle. They move up north, but as we know, they're pretty much as far north as they can go, probably a few more while back. But eventually, they'll hit the Himalayas. And I know for a fact that these civilizations definitely can't do that. With the popularity this country has to expand, they expand down into Southeast Asia. Although not too far, because they don't want to upset their people. Because some nations have done that, and revolts have happened, many things. With the Sahara expedition, it doesn't go so well, but they do manage to explore the Sahara and see that you don't want to go in this area of the world. Because it's basically all sand over here. And the Moroccan Empire is moving southbound. As we know, we're still hundreds of years away to the European conquest in Oceania, because they're so far away and I don't think the civilization yet could get there. But with the northern expedition being made, this expedition sends about a lot of men, probably 50,000 men, only about 500 or so return. Because most of them freeze as it turns winter in the middle of some of the expeditions. So like 50% die. So we're left with about 25,000 to 1,000 survivors. 10,000 to 25,000 from this northern expedition. Its main accomplishment is it manages to find all the Baltic Sea and push further into Russia. Although the nation that led this is starting to have some turmoil, which basically this begins with this golden rebellion looking thing, which starts in the south, because, yeah, in the south area where, because government moved more so over to this area, to this side, this area, which made this area a bit mad. Which they take what they claim. Looks like the nation might get left where it began. Which this kind of strawberry-ish gray color, kind of revolting in the north. Over the lack of investment up here, except to expand and claim they found good land. And basically, that looks like right in this area of Ukraine, so maybe we need to fix that. And then in the center, after the collapse of the country starts, a few local rebellious groups break away. Because, well, this nation got too big and learned its lesson the hard way. And when you learn your lesson the hard way, it's never pleasing. With another local state revolting away. With basically, at this point, all that's going to leave leaves. With a dark, dark, dark purple nation being formed. With this yellow nation that claimed they were being neglected because of rapid expansion. Look what they do. They expand, guys. I think Europe is going to have its problems soon. European nations, besides that, Ukrainian thing, we can call it. Besides the point, it's not. That's the green country. But yeah. I have a few countries named, but I forgot to name a bunch. So, yeah. And also, if you want to name a country, please comment it. I might start using it by that name if you have a good idea. With this orange nation being, expanding, free land, they basically say. And then this strawberry country, which I call it. Even though it looks nothing like strawberry color, but it did before I used it. It looks like clay. And so, Eventually, all this unclaimed land in the middle of Europe is chipped away fully and taken over. But another country that starts falling apart is this purple country, which is starting to put societies behind with all these collapses. This state revolts and leaves, meaning that southern area feels neglected. So all the local rulers revolt. I think that's a different color than that, but just to make sure, I'm going to make it a bit darker. And then the southern state breaks away. And unfortunately, that will happen a lot in this video because, look, there's not many countries for how big nations are. With a democracy revolt leading to a lighter blue color. And this starts in this area with democracy killing the leader, the democratic protesters. These want a representative democracy, although representative democracy in this time is really you need to have lots of money, lots of it to be able to vote. So basically, it's still an aristocracy, but has more people voting. So yeah, better sounding. You have vote to represent yourself. Although they think this was a good idea, after the democratic revolt, an area in the north, let's use this color for reference to try and get a better one, decides they want to go their own way. And then the yellow team, without them, invades this country and takes what's theirs. And they take this over. With an expedition into Africa in the south area right here, which discovers this lake. And since it discovers a lake, that's pretty cool. Eventually, this area is discovered, and this area. And so on forth. Then this area is discovered, and once this area is discovered, they start going in to gain land. Gaining land means gaining power, and gaining power is pretty good in this world. And then moving out to this lake, and eventually they set up like this. Although one problem. This country basically has its own warlord period and falls apart. With this state leaving, this grayish purple state, which is basically the inland state, leaves. And this successively leads to, well, we'll call the extermination of this country. Of course, not really, but it fell apart. It has a tension. With after this nation goes to war with this one and fails in every battle. With that failure being so bad that they are forced to cede over their Caspian coast. This has another problem which is led on by this. Basically, everything gets bad in this country. And in this area, a revolt takes place. And this revolt is to get rid of this country. Although this, monarchy that ran and tried to overthrow, I guess, not monarchy, aristocracy, failed. With India exploring more, not India, why am I calling it that? But anyways. With more of Southeast Asia being explored, of them realizing they can just connect this. And they connect their expeditions. And they manage to explore all of Southeast Asia. With them exploring into China, which they find pretty cool. With them exploring, not really expanding at this point. And they also discover Taiwan. At this point, they expand a bit to this area. But their people aren't happy, but they can't really expand more or they risk destabilization. So a new country is formed, the Gray Country. Hope this isn't the same gray. It's pretty similar. With the Gray Country being located around where modern day Vietnam would be considered. Let's see, what's a good color? A bit more. Right there. Interesting. In the country being formed here, which is the aqua green country. And so expansion isn't really rapid right now in Africa because of the deserty area. With this orange nation expanding more. With an expedition being made to Britain, as these lands are really discovered. With the orange country managing a successful landing. And the purple country. Shockingly, you wouldn't expect this to be able to happen this early. With a war breaking out in Iberia between this nation. I'm going to give it a lighter color, even though there is a country with a lighter color, I would say. With them advancing rapidly. With Iberia just agreeing to the peace treaty. Which they take mostly all of the coast. In this country, it's pretty small. But they did lose the war, and that makes sense, doesn't it? Which means this country's stronger, that country's weaker. That's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out. See you in the next video. Bye, guys!